Hello there, everybody, and today I am here to review The Wolverine. So this is, I guess you can say, a sequel to X-Men Origins Wolverine, even though it's kind of not. You can kind of say it's a standalone Wolverine movie, but this, I guess you could say, gets the Wolverine character just right. And I gotta say, this is probably the most underrated of the X-Men movies in that cinematic universe. And I don't think this movie's on top of my list of the X-Men movies, but I can say it's definitely got enjoyable stuff in this movie. And I can say this for certain. This is a lot better than X-Men Origins Wolverine. So this is about Wolverine going to Japan to meet up with someone he saved from the war, who's offering him something to save his old soldier buddy's life, but Wolverine refuses, and now he's on the hunt. So this movie's is definitely a more deeper Wolverine movie. It's directed by James Mangold. He also directed Logan. And easily the best part of this movie is Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I've said this probably a couple of times in my X-Men Origins Wolverine. It's no surprise, but Hugh Jackman is clearly... I couldn't see anyone else playing this character. Like, he is that good as this character. He looks like the character. He sounds like the character. He's got the claws, the badass claws, and there's a lot of badass scenes. But we see a more human side to Wolverine. This is because he's also, throughout this movie, having nightmares of visions of, like, Jean Grey. And if you don't know, spoilers, in X-Men Last Stand, he killed Jean Grey because she went evil. And it's really taking a toll at Logan's psyche. Like, he keeps having dreams about her. He wakes up with opening his claws. It's a lot better than how he was waking up in Origins Wolverine. But, yeah. I'll talk about how this movie opens. It opens with Wolverine in the forest. And what leads him to meeting his fellow ally, Yukio, is because he starts off living in the woods all by himself, but after getting into some scuffle with some dudes in some bar, after they try to kill a bear, he ends up getting recruited by Yukio, who offers him to go to Japan because his old soldier buddy is dying, and he wants to say farewell to his old comrade, Logan. So the movie does open in the 1940s, where Wolverine was at some camp, and he barely survived a nuclear blast, and the soldier in this movie he saved, he ended up getting hit by Logan got hit by the nuclear blast, and his skin just barely survived it, but of course, because of his healing abilities, he was able to survive the encounter. So he made a light debt with Logan, and so now he's going to say farewell since he's dying. Wolverine first says no, but he is taken to Japan anyway, and they shave him, they wash him, and that scene was pretty funny. But he meets up with his old comrade, and he's about to die. He's even in this cool chair thing, and but Logan refuses after seeing his intentions with it. And so he dies. But when Logan goes to bed, he does have a nightmare of Jean Grey. And he also has this dream where he is getting poisoned by somebody. And he thought that was a dream, but he'll become relevant later. Because at the funeral of Yukio's grandfather, Logan ends up getting shot by some assassin. And it actually affects him, and will become relevant later to why he's not healing as he should be. But he ends up getting into a fight with a bunch of these goons, and it's a very cool samurai battle. And we also get this Dark Archer guy. I don't know, I forget his name. It's all these names are hard to say, but he's a cool dude. He ends up taking out some of the goons. It's hard to tell whose side he was on, but he's on the good guy's side. But Logan ends up teaming up with his Yukio's sister, I'm pretty sure. I think her name is Marco. I don't know how to say her name, but like the two end up getting into this goose chase. And they go onto the the train. But Logan's trying to heal, but when he goes into the bathroom, he ends up not healing. But he ends up getting on top of the train where the goons are still after him. And we get this very, very cool, badass scene where he puts his claw on the train, lets go, then kills the person trying to kill him. And the two end up going back to her old house. And most of the movie's kind of just becoming like a romance. Like Logan, I think, ends up confessing what he did to Jean because he's feeling so guilty about it. And the two make out and stuff. But yeah, this is where the movie kind of gets slow for me to get into. But Yukio ends up meeting up with Logan later after Marco gets captured by the goons. But it turns out she also has an ability of her own. She can see the future. And she sees a future where Logan dies. And I don't know, I'm always wondered when I'm watching this movie, is she actually referring to Logan's spoilers? But is it like foreshadowing what we see in Logan? Like, we don't know. I honestly don't know. But the vision becomes relevant later when Logan and her go to try to find Marco's like fiance, who turns out to be a traitor. And Logan ends up, I do like the scene where Logan confronts the man. He's hanging out with a bunch of frat girls, and he ends up throwing the man out the window, and he falls into the pool. And she's like, "Did you know that was there?" And he's like, "Nope." But yeah, he finds the location of where the sister might be, and he ends up going there to this like sort of lab area. But this turns out he ends up having some sort of seizure of some sort. But it turns out what happened was that lady who Logan thought was dreaming, she actually poisoned Logan. And it turns out there's a little thing near his heart which is actually hurting Logan's skeleton, adamantium skeleton, which is why he didn't heal from his gunshot wound. But he ends up almost not wanting to give up, and Yukio tries to tell him like, this is how you would die. And she's actually trying to get Logan to die, basically. I was a bit confused by that, but Logan ends up stabbing through his chest and getting that thing out of there. And it's like a little critter you'd find in like the Alien movie, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I think what happens next when one of the samurai breaks in, and there's these cool ninjas breaking in, and they actually try to take out Yukio, but Wolverine ends up pulling out that claw, and he gets into a battle with this one samurai dude, and it's very badass. And Wolverine ends up getting stabbed after the man tried to stab him through the chest, and he's like, "What kind of monster are you?" And then he yells the Wolverine, and he just stabs the man through the neck. Now, I don't know if there's a rated R version of the Wolverine. If there is, tell me about it. But yeah, he kills the man, and it leads to Logan going down a trail to where the sister might be. But this is all revealed to be an ambush, as he is then shot by a bunch of arrows. And when he takes his motorcycle in this snowy area, he was ambushed, and he is almost taken out, but he's captured. And it turns out they didn't want Marco the whole time. They wanted Logan, because it turns out they're using him for some experiment. And we see the lady who poisoned him, who turns out when her outfit she's wearing and a wig, she's actually wearing a wig, and she takes it off, and it's very gross. Ugh. But Yukio and the Arrow dude, they end up coming to Logan's rescue, and as it's revealed that there's this giant silver samurai who is ready to chop off Logan's, I think, adamantium claws for some experiment. But Logan's saved by them, but unfortunately Logan gets his claws chopped off by this samurai, who's revealed to be the old guy, his old comrade, who actually is after Logan because he was dying and he knows Wolverine can survive for a long time because of his adamantium and claws, and because of his healing factor. He's going to steal that as for euphemism and to turn himself young and Logan old. And he literally sucks the drain out of Logan. Yeah, it's a bit silly. Yeah, and I've seen like videos like Chris Stuckman review this where he says he loves the whole movie until the third act where the movie gets silly. Yeah, I gotta admit, the movie does get silly. But I don't know. I actually kind of like the idea that this man's trying to steal Logan's youth. But it's unfortunate he loses his claws, but he gets the bone claws. And I always thought the bone claws looked freaky. And he ends up getting saved by Marco, who uses Wolverine's damaged claw to stab the man in the head. And then Wolverine finishes the job. And yeah, he saves the day. And Silver Samurai is dead. And yeah, it's actually cool that there's no other... I don't know if this is a weird thing to point out, but like the X-Men movie universe never really established other superheroes other than just the X-Men and I guess Deadpool. But in this, yeah, we got Silver Samurai. But yeah, Wolverine has to go back to America to reforge himself. And he kisses his girl goodbye, and he goes with Yukio, she's now the right-hand man towards Logan. Like, she's there for him as an apprentice, I'm pretty sure. But the two take flight, and then 2 years later, in the post-credits scene, Wolverine is encountered by Professor X, played by the brilliant, amazing Patrick Stewart, and encountered by Ian McKellen's legendary actor too, who turns out they are saying there's a war going on, and it's a big setup for Days of Future Past, and that's the Wolverine. So yeah, I don't think it was my favorite of the Wolverine movies, but it's definitely like number 2 since Logan's. I think it's definitely a beautiful end for the Wolverine character, and this is definitely a different, underrated Wolverine movie. It's not something you really expect. We've seen Wolverine go to Japan in like the X-Men cartoon, but in this, it's like completely different and realistic. And yeah, it has a lot of awesome action. I think it kind of slowed down for me when watching this movie. But overall, I think this movie had a lot of great ideas. And it's certainly, like I said, better than Origins. But anyway, check this movie out. I'm going to review Logan next, and I look forward to it. But anyway, thanks for watching, and X-Men Unite.